Civilization or Barbarism, an Authentic Anthropology by Dr. Cheikh Anta Diop. Likewise, for Gerasimov, Grimaldi man and Combe Capelle man are obviously Negroid Homo sapiens. Predmos man, whom he considers to be a crossbreed of Neanderthal and Homo sapiens sapiens, might merely be an Australoid Homo sapiens sapiens, for at that late period of the Upper Paleolithic, all traces of Neanderthal would seem already to have disappeared. This man, Predmos, has all the appearances of a true Negroid, even though Valois tries to classify him among the Cro-Magnons. The same can be said for the Brno man. Predmos and Brno seem to descend directly from the Aurignacians of the same region of the Danube and Central Europe. Gerasimov also thinks that Grimaldi man is a Negroid invader and not a native of Europe. He writes, "It is particularly clear that the Upper Paleolithic man entered the territory of Western Europe already possessing diverse variants of the culture and specific traits of the lower Homo sapiens, while displaying more or less equatorial traits. This pseudo-Negroid complex manifested itself in concert with specific features not only of the synomical order, but also of the constitutional kind. The mutation from Negroid to Cro-Magnon did not happen overnight. There was a long transition period of more than 15,000 years corresponding to the appearance of numerous intermediate types between the Negroid and the Europoid without any occurrence of an interbreeding. In particularly, the osteology of the very first Cro-Magnons is Negroid, which seems normal. In fact, the Negroid osteology developed in the paleo environment of the African savanna, where the giraffe appeared. This osteology took time to adapt to squatting in the caves of Europe during the glacial era. In other words, to pass from a life in the open air to virtually subterranean one. The Negroid proportions of the original Grimaldi type become progressively inverted. Also, Jeremousov notes the classical Cro-Magnons can be named Europoids only under certain conditions. Their bodily proportions are closer to those of the Negroids. Moreover, Synomically, many of them have an abrupt forehead and lightly marked eyebrows, a strongly expressed pragmatism, and as consequence, a protrusion of the lips. These characteristics of the equatorial type are more distinctly evident in the women. Finally, the author, although a Soviet, in turn shows that the area covered by Negroid expansion extended from Western Europe to the Lake Baikal and Siberia by the way of Crimea and the Don Basin. It was the same author who discovered the Aurignacian industry of Siberia near Lake Baikal, the very industry of which Thomas speaks in his article. Jeremousov continues. This Negroidity complex, although expressed in another form, is above all very clear in the Grimaldi skeletons. This specific equatorial complex is expressed in particularly precise manner in the skeleton of the Machina Gora on the Don. The skull of the man practically cannot be distinguished from the skulls of today's Papuas, neither in terms of descriptive indicators nor by mensurational data. The skeleton of Combe Capelle man is equally expressive, even though it possesses different traits, those of the Australoid type. It is interesting to note that the Combe Capelle fossil, whom some see as the ancestor of the Europoids, is described here as an Australoid, and especially if one remembers that Thoma would like to make the Australoids descend from the Archanthropians. It is easy to see how indefensible his viewpoint is. Today, the very recent character of the formation of the Australian branch is virtually demonstrated. I will stop right there and we'll continue back off with civilization or barbarism. I'm Uriel Riley. Thank you.